My name is Jeremy Devins, and welcome back to the Quiet Mind Astrology Podcast. And today we're looking at the horoscope for January 2024 and the major events that are happening. So as always, if you want to know how this affects you more personally, you can get your own free birth chart at quietmindastrology.com. You can also sign up for the Friday forecast, where I send out the weekly horoscope all throughout the year. You'll be getting these updates of what's happening each week and how you can best work with it, and the new podcast and exclusive offers and other cool things. So quietmindastrology.com is where you can check that out. And you'll also be hearing about the next Vedic Astrology Mentorship Group, which will be opening up very soon in January 2024. So this is for those of you who want to go deeper into your studies and know how to read charts, know how to read your own chart. It's really a deep immersion into understanding yourself and then being able to understand others. And if you're able to read a chart for someone else, then you need to know a lot about yourself and a lot about astrology. So it's a very deep personal growth path. Obviously, one of my favorites. I think it's amazing. So the Astrology Mentorship Program will be opening very soon, and you can check out the waitlist for that right now at quietmindastrology.com. And we'll get into what's happening in January 2024. The first big movement of this month into the new year is Mercury going direct on January 2nd. So as I'm recording this, it's a little bit late, and that Mercury retrograde really seemed to affect me pretty strongly and feeling like a lot of resistance to taking action and being productive and being in the sort of masculine part of myself. And I talked to a lot of people going through that as well around the end of December. But since Mercury's gone direct on January 2nd, I'm feeling just super focused and on top of things and really creative and productive again. Back to myself, feels really good. You may feel this as well. Mercury went direct in Scorpio in Jyeshta Nakshatra, as you see for watching the video. And this brings clarity in communication and decision making. This brings smooth progress in your personal growth that may have previously been delayed, because now it's direct and there's movement in these things. Mercury is buddhi, the intellect. So when it's retrograde, our thinking is not always as sharp as it could be. Once it goes direct, our thinking becomes sharper, clearer, more focused. And of course, Mercury will go retrograde 3 times in 2024. So every time it happens, it's a good time to slow down, go back over things, and not try to do too many new things. I got upgraded my laptop before the retrograde, made it in that window, but I still had a lot of things to manage during the retrograde of transitioning to the new computer, which I thought I could do really quickly, but there were a lot of delays in that still. So these kind of things around Mercury retrogrades, new technology, and I talked to a few friends going through that too, upgrading a phone and all this. It just brings a lot of delays to that, and travel and things like this. Just did a reading yesterday with somebody thinking about traveling in December 2024, and that will be during Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde for them. So I generally, if it were up to me, just my own choices, I would not try to travel at that time in December 2024 because of those 2 retrogrades. And if you could do it any other time, great. But sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes family things or work things come up and you're going to be traveling. So when you do, it's important to just go slow. Maybe do remedial measures like for Mercury retrograde, it's like pranayama, meditation, mantra. And these kind of things can help reduce the negative effects and bring out the positive effects. With everything in astrology, in my experience and understanding in my 17 plus years I've been doing this now, I find that the energy is there. It's going to express one way or another, and it can be either positive, negative, or neutral, just like every atom in your body has a proton, electron, and neutron. It makes up the matter of the universe. We have these possible expressions, and we get choice. We get choice of how to work with it. So now you may have more enhanced mental focus, sharpness, and transformation in your business and learning as Mercury stays direct now for a couple months. There is potential for some lingering misunderstandings from the retrograde period. This is true anytime a planet goes direct. You may have this issue. As you see for watching the video, Uranus is the only planet currently retrograde, and that will change on January 27th. So at the end of January, all planets are direct until May, and then all except Pluto are direct until June. So this first half of 2024, there's a lot of potential for moving forward, taking action, getting a lot of stuff done. There's a huge momentum into the year now that Mercury's direct, and the last one for January is Uranus, and that's about to change. And now the next significant transit in January is on January 11th at around 3:57 a.m. Pacific time. We have the new moon in Purvashada in Sagittarius. So the Purvashada Nakshatra is the invincible one. It's the energy of potential and power to get things done. So it brings in this new beginning, this new energy. Whatever you want to create, whatever you want to do, there's less resistance, less block, similar to how all the planets moving direct brings this momentum. This is a powerful energy to set new intentions and long-term goals. You think of Sagittarius like the archer aiming for a target, and Purvashada is this very directed, targeted energy that can get things done. There's a great sense of renewal and fresh starts in most areas of life. So in the first new moon of the new year, which some people consider the beginning of the new year, a lot of different theories on all this. And there's a great potential for growth and expansion with this. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so there's that potential of growth, expansion, abundance, new opportunities, and new direction in life. There can be some resistance or challenges in implementing your new intentions, and that's possible at any point. The Purvashada can be a little stubborn or need it to be a certain way. As you may have noticed in life, sometimes when you have a stronger, firmer grasp on it has to be this way, you're more likely to experience things like anxiety, frustration, irritability, because it's not going the way you planned. So personally, I like to have a clear intention and strong adaptability to the flow of life in the day. So with this energy of the new moon and Purvashada, it's very good to have targets and aims and goals and know that the path that you go on to get there may wind and weave and not go at the speed or the pace that you expect it will. Often life is not a linear path from A to B, from your goal to getting there. So it's okay to be a little off course at times or be a little uncertain at times. But overall, this is a very positive energy, a great way to start the new year. And you really feel this sense of like new beginning, new year at this point. The actual January 1st was not a great day for like that sense of new beginning and all this because Mercury is retrograde. And we had the full moon in Ardra before that, which is a bit more intense and deep and transformational, which can be good if you're into astrology and all this. But now Purvashada is a much more like, let's go, let's move into this new energy. Let's get into this new year. It's exciting, it's fun, it's creative and inspiring kind of energy. Next transit is on Sunday, January 14th. We see the sun moves into Capricorn for 30 days. Of course, the sun transits are always about a month in a sign. And that is really what the Western tropical zodiac is based on, the solar cycle and the seasons. And in Vedic, it's important, but not as important because the sun is in a sign for 30 days. So to say you're a particular sun sign means you're just one of 12 types of people, and it kind of narrows all 8 billion people into just 12 boxes. But your moon changes signs every 2.5 days, so we use our moon sign to go more detailed. And then your ascendant changes every about 2.5 hours. So using your ascendant is much more predominant in Vedic astrology. So when you say you are a Taurus, in Vedic astrology, usually you would mean you're a Taurus ascendant, or maybe you're a Taurus moon, more so in India. And this is more so in recent years that we use the ascendant because we have such detailed, accurate birth info now. And within that, there's the nakshatras. So you go from that sign, say you're a Taurus ascendant, now you've got Rohini inside of there. So even smaller division and more precise to you, and not just everyone fits in 12 boxes or even 27 boxes, but there's over 108, basically 108 possible ascendants you could have. So there's much more specificity to that. And then you do your 108 possible places of the moon and the sun and all the other planets and the houses. And that's how we get so accurate in Vedic astrology. But the sun transits are important, and the sun does matter. It's your vitality, it's your power, it's your creativity, it's your leadership ability. And when it's in Capricorn, it's constricted a bit. Now, this could be good for creating more structure in your life, more systems, more organization. If you're in business, to be more grounded, practical, set goals, set strategy. and a path to achievement of your goals. Working on your morning routine, your evening routine. When do you wake up? When do you go to bed? What kind of food do you eat? Your diet, your exercise program. These are all positive uses. Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn and the Sun do not get along super well. So whenever those energies are mixed, it's a challenging energy. It's a challenging thing to work with. If you lack discipline and if you don't want to feel grounded or structured or organized in your life, it's very hard. But it's a good time to have a focused and disciplined approach in your personal and professional matters, and set up those routines to have your ambitions and goals take the spotlight, where you are now really focused on that target and slow and steady steps towards it. You could think of it like if you were to walk across Europe, like this long path. You have a destination and you have a sort of map to get there, and it's going to be a long, winding path, and it's going to take a while, and you can't just jump to the end. If you're walking there, you've got to just take one step at a time. And Sun in Capricorn invites us to just look at our goals, have a clear path, and take one step at a time, one day at a time, and that will move us in that direction. So this is a big theme from January 14th until February 14th or so, when the Sun moves on to Aquarius, that now is the time to just be slow and steady, making progress towards your goals, staying grounded in your practices, bringing more structure into your life and your business. There's an increased sense of responsibility and leadership, and people are leading in any role. Whether you have a title like a leader or not, you are leading by example. You are either being impeccable with your word or not, and that creates either a trust or distrust in others, or expectations from others, or either have boundaries or you don't have boundaries. These things are all coming up whenever Sun is in Capricorn every year to assess them. And this always happens around January each year. It's just, it's a very consistent cycle. Our calendar in the Western world is really a solar calendar as well. So it's the same time every year, Sun's in Capricorn. And this is something that always comes up when people set New Year's resolutions. Most people drop them by the second or third week because the actual responsibility and the work involved is not something they want to follow through on, or whatever the reason. There's so many things. I talk about this in Mindful New Year. Most goal setting resolutions and things don't really work. But what does work, especially when you get into mid-January, is what I said, is having a clear destination, step by step, putting the habits and systems in place. I always talk about, I love James Clear's work on this. One of the best books about lifestyle change or habit change anybody's ever written, I think. And he says, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And that is what Sun in Capricorn is about, putting those systems in place. If you have a system that you wake up, go to the bathroom, put on your running shoes, and you go run, you're probably going to run every day if that's just like clockwork. That's just where your mind goes, wake up, bathroom, run. Right? The more you can put these sort of habits in place, or these consistent routines and systems in place in your life, your work, the more likely, of course, you'll make step-by-step progress towards your goals and be in a different place in the future. Rather than thinking of you want to get in shape, so you go to the gym for 3 hours one day and then beat yourself up because you didn't go the next day and the next day, and you just drop it and blah, blah, blah. So there's a tendency to be overly serious or burdened by responsibilities with this energy, so be mindful of that. And there's some lightheartedness coming through on January 18th when we get the planet Venus moving into Sagittarius out of Scorpio. Venus has been in Scorpio through the beginning of January, the end of December. This very deep, sensual, nourishing kind of energy can bring up a lot of depth in intimacy, relationships, sensuality, artistic expression. Now in Sagittarius, there's this adventurous and open-hearted approach to relationships and to life. Really good time to go on an adventure and a trip. I'm planning a trip during this time. It'd be really cool. Out to a really beautiful place here near where I'm at in Mazunte in Mexico. It's very positive and optimistic interactions with others that can come through at this time. Great social energy. Even if you're a more introvert like I am, still a very good social kind of energy. Venus and Sagittarius, go out, go hang out with friends, meet new people, just do interesting, adventurous kind of stuff. It's a favorable time for exploring shared interests in relationship, in any sort of relationship, not just romantic, but exploring fun, games, philosophy, ideas, values. Talking about these things can be very mentally stimulating and interesting, and you can learn a lot. Art, music, these kind of things. There's a risk of being overly idealistic or avoiding emotional depth in relationships. We're out of the depths of Scorpio now at this point after January 14th, or January 18th, excuse me, for about 24 days while Venus is in Sag. This is a bit more on the surface, a bit more outgoing, a bit more extroverted. And this is just one of the energies that we go through. So it's good to play there too. And like dance and sing and laugh and make art and be silly. And also you can share your ideas and your values and some of your philosophy. But it can be overly idealistic and too much about the way it should be, or this kind of thing could creep into relationships of having this idea of how it should be and not just meeting the other person where they're at and the difference of beliefs, because Venus and Sag is about what you believe and value, and that may be different than people close to you. So there's important to be open to that with this transit. Then the next notable transit of the month is on January 25th, the full moon in Pushya Nakshatra in Cancer. Now, this is the culmination of emotional and personal growth that you've been going through over the past month since the full moon in Ardra at the end of December. Pushya is a very nourishing, nurturing energy, great day to do things like massage or therapies or healing work. This is a time of heightened intuition and emotional awareness. Pushya energy is very intuitive and very emotionally attuned to know what's under the surface. You know, it's like that common thing of you could ask someone how they're doing and they say fine. And the word is fine. The word sounds like they're okay, but you can feel the energy is different. That's an obvious one, but there are a lot less obvious ones like that happen in our interactions. And with higher emotional attunement and awareness, we can sense those things and be proactive about them and even address them before they become bigger issues. And it's just kind of things like sometimes people could stay together for many years and then be shocked that their partner is unhappy or wants a divorce or something like this. But the signs were there when you retroactively look at it and you see that there was maybe an emotional dissonance or disconnection there. And this could be in your work where you're actually emotionally not fulfilled in your work, or in some sort of creative expression you feel called to do, but you haven't been doing it. This full moon in Pushya brings these things to light where this is a good time to address them. And they can be good or bad and different, but it's important to honor the emotions. So much of the Western world is about the narrator voice in our head and taking that as the one true real reality and what we can write and talk about. But there's so much, a whole world in the feeling as well that's just as important. And this energy on January 25th, the full moon in Pushya, heightens our awareness of that world of emotion and energy. So it's a great day to do some sort of journaling, meditation, therapeutic work, maybe some deep conversations with others, maybe just some nourishing affection and touch and cuddles with a partner. It doesn't have to be super deep or heavy or anything like that, but the emotional awareness is heightened, the intuition is heightened, and it's a great time to bring this positive energy into nurturing relationships. And of course, anytime there's a full moon, there's a potential for heightened emotions and sensitivities. Just go out anytime there's a full moon, go out in like the town or the city you're in, and you'll feel it. Everything's a little bit more unhinged. The animals in nature are a little more awake because there's all the moonlight to go out and hunt and for predators and prey. So there's this a lot more activity and this heightened energy. There's more accidents coming into the ER and the hospitals on the full moon days. So it's a good day to really ground your energy. And personally, I like to stay more internal on these days. Maybe go out a little bit, but kind of avoid the crowds. But it also can be fun to kind of challenge yourself, especially if you're a highly sensitive person. I used to do this many years ago when I was so sensitive, like things would really knock me out in a way. I would just go and like stand in chaotic environments, malls, stores, the full moon evenings, just be out in it and just feel it and like let it move through your body and not let it impact you so much. So you like strengthen your nervous system essentially. That's one way to approach it as well. But at this point, personally, I like to just think of it as a more healing, nourishing internal day, especially in Cancer and Pushya. And then the last major transit of January is on January 27th. As I mentioned, all planets are now direct. There's no retrograde planets until May 3rd, 2024. And what this means is there's minimal resistance to making progress on anything that you focus on. All the planets moving forward, all the energies moving forward, no slowdowns. Retrograde, no planet actually ever goes backwards, but there's a sort of slowing down energy. It appears it's going backwards. It's closer to the Earth when that happens, so it appears it's going backwards. And usually it's closer to the Earth, the planet is. And there's a time to be intentional. Manifestation can happen very quickly during this cycle, these first 4 months of the year, really, 4.5. And you say something, it's starting to shape your reality as soon as you say it. With our words, we can spell and cast spells. So our words literally are creating our reality, and we always have choice. So it's very important to be very intentional. And as I mentioned in the last episode about the full year of 2024, with all the energies going on, it's a great year to keep coming back to your intention. And if you don't have a clear intention, check out mindfulnewyear.com and you can sign up and take the guided practices to help you clarify your intention for the year. And you can always come back to it throughout the year and re-clarify it. It probably will evolve. But when you have an intention, now you're on a path. Now you're moving somewhere and you're getting guidance either towards it or away from it. Just like Google, it's all the information of all time, but you got to know what you're looking for. And you get to choose what you type into that search box. Life is just like that. I think this is why Google is so ubiquitous and well used and received, and everyone just knows it, and it became a verb very fast because it's just the way the universe works. It's an infinite potential of anything you could ever want, but you got to know what you're looking for first. And once you do, now you get some search results, and now you're on the path of looking for it. And maybe getting closer to it, maybe really fast. And with this energy from January 27th until May 3rd, 2024, things can happen really fast. So it's very important to be very intentional. What do you want? What are you asking for? And are you ready to receive it? And that's sometimes the hardest part. Are there blocks in you that feel like you're not worthy, or you don't deserve it, or it needs to be harder, or you're used to it being difficult and struggling? Why? It doesn't have to be that hard. You do have choice in that too. It can be easy. It can be fun. It can be flowing. Things can just happen organically. And you don't have to have all this resistance. But sometimes you do. And there's lessons in that. And it's important to go into the resistance, into the fears, into the doubts, and see what's there and maybe heal those things. And you'll likely hit up against some of that with this time, January 27th to May 3rd. All the planets moving forward, you may find that you are hitting up against your edges of your upper limit, some people say, where you think this is as good as it could get, or so then you do something to self-destruct, or something to make it smaller instead of so big, or make it less complicated and more manageable. It can be scary, it can be overwhelming, and it can just be what it is, and without adding resistance or fear or judgment or labels. And you can feel what you feel and let it move through, and know that this too will pass. And it doesn't mean that you're unworthy, or you're too much of this or not enough of that. Some of the most confronting work people can go through is positive. It's like having nice things, experiencing joy, experiencing success in your work. So many of the sort of stereotypical stories of people who experience success and then they self-destruct. They get everything they want, and then they realize that these goals are just Maya and illusion and not fulfilling. Now what? So we got to come from a spiritual foundation, because in the spiritual foundation, we know that we're just playing on Google and life and search engines, and We're just saying, well, I'd like to explore this. And that was fun. Now I want to explore that. And maybe I want to go deeper in this. But it's not going to like bring you all the happiness in the world or solve all your problems or be the end of all of your searching. It's just the next thing. And then there'll be another thing. As long as we're alive, there'll always be just another thing. So with all this planetary energy moving direct, all this potential, all this possibility, there's a lot of things we can explore, a lot of rabbit holes we can go down, a lot of searches we can go on. And ultimately, it is all illusion. It's all Maya. So then the ground I stand on is, how can I be of service? And how can I grow spiritually? How can I grow personally? How can I use all this to help others, to express love, to share love, to receive love, to be in this energy of universal love and expression and care and learning and growth? That's always going to be evolving and changing how that looks. Right now, it's this podcast. For a long time, it was just yoga classes for me. And that will always continue to evolve, and how it looks for you will continue to evolve. And you may feel called to some new expression during this time. And all you got to do is receive the call, follow the message, just like Neo in the Matrix. He gets the call from Morpheus, and he just follows his guidance. The universe is always guiding us just like this. Turn left, turn right, go here, try this out, look at that. What's this about? Oh, now you've got some trigger coming up. Okay, do some healing around that. Get some help. Find a therapist. Whatever you need to do. So this is all part of the process. It can be a little overwhelming. This all planets direct. But keep coming back to your intention. Stay grounded in a spiritual foundation. And know that the Maya, the illusion, all the things we explore and play with in this lifetime will change. Every single thing, your home, your clothes, your pets, your friends, it's all changing forms slow enough that we think it will last a long time. But in 100 years, it will all be something else. In 1,000 years, it will all be something very different. And we can remember that and know that what we're doing now is just for fun, for exploration, for joy, for expression, for love, for spirituality, for curiosity. Why not? It's the playground of life, the school of life. We're here to enjoy this experience, in my opinion. So that's our look at January 2024, all the major events coming up and how it impacts you over the month and over the next several months. Just to review, we talked about on Tuesday, January 2nd, Mercury went direct in Scorpio, bringing forward momentum in communication and business. On Thursday, January 11th, there's the new moon in Purvashada in Sagittarius. Great time for setting intentions for the year, thinking long-term. On Sunday, January 14th, the sun moves into Capricorn for a month, bringing a focused and disciplined approach to your personal matters and professional matters. Great time for setting your groundwork and strategy for achieving your goals in the year, being very practical about it. On Thursday, January 18th, Venus moves into Sagittarius. Great time to go on an adventure. There's no retrograde energy here, so it's a great time to just go out, have fun, do some exploration, do something fun, open-hearted, positive energy. Then on Thursday, January 25th, there's the full moon in Pusha and Cancer, very nourishing and nurturing energy. Great time for doing deep healing and emotional work. And then on Saturday, January 27th, all planets are direct until May 3rd, 2024, and there will just be one retrograde in May, so really until June. Forward momentum, whatever you want to do. There's not a lot of resistance from the universe, but there may be some resistance internally that you get to heal at this time. As always, if you enjoyed this podcast, take a moment to leave a rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That makes a big difference. If you haven't done a monthly review for the year, go to quietmindastrology.com/monthly review, and you can get my free monthly review process that guides you through how to look back at the past month, learn the lessons from it, and integrate it into next month. It's a good thing to use with these episodes, these monthly horoscopes. And one of my favorite processes I do every month to review the past month, plan the next month. So that you can get that for free as well. All you got to do is leave an honest review on Apple Podcasts, which really helps us share astrology with more people. So it's not so weird when we talk about Vedic astrology, because it's still got to explain it a lot. A lot of people still just keep going back to Western astrology, even though they learn about Vedic and they want to learn it. They think it's a little too complicated. So I do my best here to make it easy to learn and apply to your life. I hope you find that to be true. And if you do, leave an honest review, share it with a friend. It's more fun to talk about this stuff with friends, look at each other's charts, see how these transits are playing out for you. So cool, so interesting to watch that stuff over the months and years and feel those shifts of energy every month. So hopefully you got these dates on your calendar, and hopefully you explore where you feel these shifts in yourself and how it affects you personally in your free birth chart. And I'd love to hear. Anytime you want to reach out, you can send me a message at my website, quietmindastrology.com. There's a contact form. I always love to hear like people's experience with these transits as well. So please send those in, quietmindastrology.com. Thank you for listening, and look forward to sharing more with you next time on the Quiet Mind Astrology Podcast.